In 1774, as the vast Russian Empire was in the midst of political and cultural transformations, Catherine II, known as Catherine the Great, maintained a tight grip on the throne, establishing herself as one of the most powerful leaders in Europe. In addition to her political and military skill, Catherine was famous for her personal life, filled with intrigues, romances, and scandals that often fueled rumors in the courts of Europe. That year, one of her most fascinating episodes began: her relationship with Grigory Alexandrovich Potemkin, a young officer who would not only win her heart, but also become a key figure in the government of the empire. Potemkin was no ordinary man. He came from a noble family, although without great fortunes, and rose quickly thanks to his charisma, intelligence, and ambition. Catherine met him during the turbulent years of the Yemelyan-Pugachev revolt, an uprising that threatened the stability of the empire. Potemkin had demonstrated remarkable military talent and an ability to inspire loyalty among his men. Catherine was impressed by his determination, but also by his imposing figure and sharp mind. The connection between them was said to have been instantaneous. Catherine, who had always been open about her relationships, found in Potemkin more than just a lover. He was an equal, someone who understood the complexities of governing and who shared her vision for modernizing Russia. At the time, the Tsarina's lovers were often passing figures in her life, men she rewarded with land and titles once the relationship ended. But Potemkin broke that pattern. In a short time, Potemkin not only won a place in Catherine's heart, but also at the very core of power. Some historians believe the two may have secretly married, although this has never been confirmed. What is indisputable is that Catherine trusted him like few others. She granted him the title of Prince of the Russian Empire and placed him in command of vast territories in the south of the empire. Potemkin was instrumental in the expansion into the Black Sea, a region that became a strategic priority for Russia. He oversaw the construction of fleets and fortresses and was the mastermind behind the annexation of Crimea in 1783, a move that strengthened Russian influence in the region. But his genius was not limited to the military. He was also a visionary in terms of urban and cultural development. Potemkin dreamed of modern cities to rival the capitals of Western Europe, and cities such as Sevastopol and Kherson were founded under his supervision. Despite his achievements, Potemkin was not without controversy. One of the most enduring rumors about him is that of the famous Potemkin villages, supposedly built to impress Catherine and foreign dignitaries during their trips to southern Russia. According to legend, Potemkin would order the construction of facades of houses and fictional villages that looked prosperous and full of but were in fact illusions, designed to hide the poverty and disorganization of the region. Although some historians believe this story was exaggerated by Potemkin's enemies, it has become a symbol of propaganda and how appearances can be manipulated to serve political interests. However, Catherine never showed any doubts about her trust in Potemkin. For her, his vision was more important than any malicious. The relationship between Catherine and Potemkin was not linear. Although they grew apart as lovers after several years, they never ceased to be allies and confidants. Catherine continued to keep him as one of her closest advisors, and he continued to support her in her most ambitious project. They often exchanged letters filled with tenderness, passion, and political debates, demonstrating the depth of their bond. Potemkin, however, was not immune to criticism. Many courtiers viewed him with envy and resentment, accusing him of being arrogant and taking advantage of the Tsarina's generosity. But his influence was undeniable. Even as Catherine took new lovers, Potemkin remained a central figure in her life. Potemkin's death in 1791 marked the end of an era. He passed away while traveling in southern Russia, exhausted by the strains of his job and his failing health. Catherine was devastated by the news. Although they no longer shared the same romantic closeness, Potemkin had been her most loyal companion and one of the pillars of her reign. Potemkin's impact on Russia is visible to this day. His work in Crimea and on the Black Sea laid the foundations for Russian naval power, and his vision for urban development left a legacy in the cities he helped found. His relationship with Catherine is remembered as an example of how passion and politics can intertwine in history, producing not only legendary romances, but also lasting transformations in the course of a nation. Catherine, for her part, continued to rule with a firm hand until her death in 1796, cementing herself as one of the most important figures in Russian history. But she never again found anyone like Potemkin, a man who was not only her lover but also her partner in building an empire. The relationship between Catherine the Great and Grigory Potemkin is a reminder of how personal alliances can have a profound impact on the fate of a nation. Was their relationship driven by love, or by the need to find an ally who shared her vision of greatness for Russia? The truth probably lies somewhere in between, but what is certain is that their bond left an indelible mark on history.